Bayek. It's me, Ian. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at this. Yes, it's Dreamscape from 1984. Yes, this is a film I remember so well, going to see it at the cinema and absolutely loving it, and then going back again. And over the years, again, it's another one that I've absolutely adored, and it's still just as good now. It really is. What? Well, let me say, it's 99 minutes long, and it doesn't seem like that. You just sail through it. It's just brilliant. You almost want more, actually. It's so good. Now, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, like we do, it's got a 79% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So, well, that's pretty good. Now, it is described as a sci-fi horror thriller. Now, the horror side is there, yes, definitely, and but it's not a dark film. This is a very lighter film, and it's got a lot of humor as well. And it has a feel-good atmosphere to it. All these things are happening, and you kind of know that they're going to, well, they're going to really fight this, and it works so well that there's going to be a good outcome. That's straight away. You think, yes, that it's going to be a good outcome. Again, this all adds to the lightness of the film. So even in those situations where you think, oh no, what is, it doesn't look good, that things will turn out all right. I don't think that's a spoiler to say that, because that's the atmosphere that they're trying to get. Now, this is directed by Joseph Rubin, and I was looking at kind of films that he was involved in that I particularly like. I always like, because the direction is very key on this film, I think. He's directed a very favourite of mine, which I'd like to see a bit more. We might look at this film again in the future. Stepfather 1, Stepfather 2, for instance, are not on Blu-ray, and they're great films. I've got them both on DVD, and tremendous films. Also, another favourite film of mine, which is quite a mainstream film, but it's a real gem, is Sleeping with the Enemy. That's from 1991. Julia Roberts is in that, and she is fantastic in that. It's interesting because Life Force, I absolutely loved her in that. And in Sleeping with the Enemy, she's absolutely fantastic. And she's not probably, on first look, as an actress that I probably would have watched her films. Like I've never seen Pretty Woman, which I know she's famous for, but yeah, he's got a good selection in my mind of films that he's directed. He was on a budget. Well, it's 5 million. It says in the special features. Online says about 6 million, so it's 5-6 million. And they made $12.1 million on this. So they did well. Yeah, you see, at the time it was a success, but it was kind of, sort of not really talked about a great deal. The film came out and that was it. It's over the years that the reputation has built up. Also, I think what I find interesting about this film is 3 people worked on the script. The one would originally come up with the idea, which was David Lowery. He'd sent a script in, and It was on the slush pile, basically. And they came back and somebody took that up and they developed the script. And then there were two other people involved. There was, of course, the director himself, Joseph Rubin. He was involved in the writing of the script. And also Chuck Russell as well, who was also like a producer as well. So I think it works well because they were developing the script, the ideas developed, and it's really interesting to see how the story was put together. Because it is you could say, you look at the film, it's a low budget film, but it's got bigger ambitions in terms of the settings and what it's doing. I mean, nowadays, you could see this being if it was ever remade, it would have a massive budget, and I bet you it wouldn't have the same charm, the same even look of this film does, because special effects were, well, nowadays they would have been overdone, to be honest. The charm of this is the special effects are done on a shoestring, and they work well, and that they look good. People say, "Hey, I bet they're doing," you know what they're like. But to me, special effects, I don't get all uptight and worried like some people do. They do, and they really start getting over the top. I accept them and get on with them. But here they look really good. We will talk a little bit about special effects just a bit further on. So we've got the writers. Now, the music was interesting because apparently they got the music quite early on. And the composer they got was Maurice Jean. And you're going, Maurice Jean, who's he? Well, he was considered a great film composer, particularly his famous theme tunes in Lawrence of Arabia, which is a classic. Dr. Zhivago, yep, those were classic films. I think also they were expecting this kind of big orchestral score and soundtrack eventually, but they didn't get that. No, they got a synthesized one, and it's great. I love it. I love the synthesized. It's kind of very 80s if you look at it like that. And of course, I thought, well, this name, I'd never heard much about Maurice Jean until I sort of started to have a look, research into it, and then I knew his son. His son is Jean-Michel Jean. And he's famous, of course, for Oxygen. Oxygen was a massive, massive album I remember so well. It's one of those things. It was like, almost like a Tubular Bells kind of album. It was massive, absolutely massive. And that was all synthesizers as well. So that's interesting, just looking at that. So the music. Anyhow, the thing that really, I think, seals this film, that really makes it stand out, and from what you're talking, they can hardly believe the cast they got. Now, the lead cast member was Dennis Quaid. Now, he was, this was more of his early career, and he was to develop sort of a bigger career. If we look at Dennis Quaid, he went on and did Inner Space. Do you remember Inner Space? These are just films I'm just picking out that I particularly liked. There was Inner Space and Frequency. Frequency is another great film. That was from 2000. So those were two films I noticed. But this film, he takes the role and plays it great. He knew the director as well. They'd worked on a film before. But anyway, this was his first real proper big lead in a film, and he takes it beautifully, and he's great, absolutely wonderful in it. So that's a great start, talking about Dennis Quaid. Then they get Christopher Plummer in. Christopher Plummer, what a career, you know. Oh, you mean, I used to think, Christopher Plummer, oh, Sound of Music and what have you, by God, you look at his career, massive in theatre and in films. I mean, when I think of Christopher Plummer now, I think of films like Star Trek 6, Undiscovered Country. I mean, wow, he was in that and he was so good. And recently, I mean, I reviewed Murder by Decree, where he was playing Sherlock Holmes. Do you remember that? If you haven't, look back. Murder by Decree. It's great. But I could have gone. There's so many roles he's played. It's just absolutely fantastic. And you realise what a good actor he was. Who only died, I think he died in 2021. So he had a massive career. Really, absolutely massive. Then the other actor that was quite a name was Max von Sydow. He plays the doctor in it, who knows the main character, Alex. That's Dennis Quaid. And also Christopher Plummer's character is called Bob Blair. He's like the major kind of shady Secret Service head. You know, basically he's doing all the things that the governments perhaps shouldn't be doing. Yes, thinking he's protecting the country and all that stuff. Anyway, so to get Max von Sydow was absolutely a real coup for them. I mean, his career, again, you look back and it's incredible. He was particularly famous with working with a famous director, Ingmar Bergman. And there's all that. But then I looked at the films that I've particularly enjoyed him in. He was in Flash Gordon. He was in The Exorcist. Yes, he was in The Exorcist. And of course, my special film that I always talk about, Dune. He was in the Lynch version of Dune 1984. So, hey, you can't go wrong there, lad. Hey, nay, they can't. So, there's that. And then, the villain in it, well, there's two villains, you could say, but the real sort of psycho kind of villain who plays Tommy in the film is absolutely brilliant, and that is David Patrick Kelly. And you're going, who's he? That you will know him, I'm sure, if you know about the cult classic Warriors. He was in Warriors. He was noted for that. That was from 1979. Warriors is very much, even nowadays, talked about. I think there's been even recent releases of it as well. So he's brilliant, very sinister, very, very good part he plays in it. And then the president is played by Eddie Albert. And Eddie Albert is a classic actor. He goes right back to 1940s films. Was in all sorts of roles popping up. Really incredible, really, his career. And right through to lots of television things. His face is quite recognisable. So he was another good member to get in the cast. So he played the president. And then the main female lead, was played by Kate Capshaw. She plays Jane. She's a female doctor involved in the research. You're saying to yourself, well, who's she? She was in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the second film, from 1984. She was in Black Rain, 1989. She knows Spielberg very well. She married him. It's Spielberg's wife. Yeah. but she is really good in this film. In fact, she just adds such a lot, especially the chemistry with Dennis Quaid. So I absolutely adore this in it. It's just great. What else? Yes, right. The film concept, I think, is quite actually clever, and the character that Dennis Quaid plays he's a bit of a rogue, really, because he's got fed up with being used basically in his early life as a rabbler almost. He was a psychic abilities, and he's drifting along in life, using that abilities on the racetrack. But anyhow, that is going on, and they bring him into the research because he's needed, as far as they're concerned. He's needed because, looking from the government point of view, the president is having these really bad dreams and nightmares, and he's going to push towards possibly getting an agreement with the Russians. Yes, it's Cold War time. Yes, it's that period in the 80s where everybody is thinking a nuclear war is on the it's on the horizon, and these nightmares, and they don't like it. They want these dreams controlled because they're worried that he's going to sell out the country and all that sort of stuff. It's funny because you think about a film like The Dead Zone, Stephen King was talking about similar kind of ideas about, not the dream bit, but about the nuclear catastrophe as well appearing. It's very interesting having that in the background. Anyway, so basically the idea is that you get this group of people, psychics, the gifted ones, and it emerges there's two. There's Alex, the Dennis Quaid character, and then there's this Tommy Ray character, and he is basically a psycho. Killed his dad. He's just waiting. He wants to get in there and get on. Of course, the idea, as we develop, is that you go into the president's dream and they can kill him, and nobody would know, because they'd it would probably induce an heart attack, and say, oh look, he's died of an heart attack, whereas he's actually killed him inside the dreams. It's a really great concept, and it works, and that's how the story develops, and we get into a wonderful world inside the dreams. This is what I mean about the film. When you actually go into the actual dreams, it's fantastic stuff. It really is. The budget. I love the effects. People say, hey, they're a bit funny, and I said that before earlier on, but the effects, and they work so well. They make the film great. And this character, the Snake Man, wow, it's great. I just love that. The Snake Man. You can't help but love the Snake Man. He's an important nightmare character that pops up. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful stuff. So that's about special. It's interesting that this film, as I say, as the years, it shows it did have some influence. You think of a film like The Cell, you think of Inception. Some of the concepts in this film are what happen in those films. And that is interesting. Again, it shows you how far ahead this film was. Very much the ideas that it's exploring on such a budget is just brilliant. So this film, I can't recommend it enough. If you've never seen this, go out and see this, and you'll realise what a gem it is. I like to think it's a valuable film because you kind of just start to love it. I really love this film. And I over the years, I thought, well, as soon as it came out on Blu-ray, I've got to have the Blu-ray. I've really had to on the DVD. And it's one of those films that I feel, what film shall I watch? Oh, watch Dreamscape. Why not? If I didn't want to watch, I'd go and watch this. I mean, I've got quite a few like that, as you can imagine. But yeah, this I highly recommended. This came out on this edition, Second Sight. They've done a great job on this. The special features, absolutely wonderful. There's loads of them, and so much interviews and in depth. You just get the whole movie is all there in these special features talking about it. The enthusiasm, the love over the years that this film has grown, and it has a whole new generation of people discovering this film, the younger ones, and they're loving it as well. It's one of those films that it just gets better and better over time. It's from a 2K scan as well. It looks absolutely brilliant. That's what I mean. The special effects, they do hold up. They're just looking at them. It's great. Fantastic stuff. Really is. So this edition is well worth getting. You've got there's a massive list of special. Look at all these special features on there listed. There isn't a book. I don't know whether there ever was one. It's see, it's a nice disc there. I don't think there ever was a book, but there could have been. I don't know. Second Sight do all sorts of things in their releases, but I absolutely love this film. So please, if you've never seen it, do yourself a favour. Watch this film. You might not feel like I do, but I really would recommend this film. I just can't recommend it enough. So that is Dreamscape from 1984. Yes, 1984. Dreamscape. So, as usual, I'll say, please, if you want to know when I'm putting these videos out, subscribe and we'll let you know. It just lets you know. And if you like this, please give it a like. It costs no, I always say, and it helps it getting more notice, and more other people might think, oh, I'll try that, and hopefully you might enjoy it. Yes, you can enjoy it as well. So, what am I going to say? I'm going to say, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.